Hello, welcome back to Daily Endeavours for Thursday the 10th of July. I'm Jackson. As always, there'll be timestamps in the description if you're just looking to fast forward to one of these options here and you just want to skip everything else because you already know it, or if you just want to skip all the initial stuff. So there's a couple of things I want to cover just before I get into Endeavours. The PTS just dropped for the new patch. There's a couple of things I just want to make sure people are familiar with. As always, understand that with PTS, things change. But ZeniMax is sometimes pretty adamant in some of their decisions, and usually things stay quite stable from where it begins. But yeah, some things will definitely change. Also, scribing and skill styles will also be an important part of that. So firstly, I'm just going to really quickly cover the 5 sort of most important things I think there are here. So firstly, we'll go swimming mounts. It's very simple. All they're doing is just adding animations, I think, for mounts when they go into the water. So no longer are mounts going to just get removed when you get into the water. Now your mounts affect you. I don't know how quick they will be. I assume they will be quicker though than swimming. The main question I have though is, will Argonian's racial passive still increase the swimming speed of the mounts? Or will that just be removed? And I just wonder what's going to happen in that case. Because I don't have PTS, so I can't test any of this stuff. If people aren't familiar with PTS, like last year, when the 10-year anniversary event was on, there was like a big issue that caused people with PTS to get their accounts blocked. Yeah, I wouldn't want to have that happen to me, just because otherwise I wouldn't be able to record videos. But that being said, I don't know if it's only accounts that log into the PTS, but yeah, I just remember it being a fucking shit show. So yeah, I can't test this. I'll see if someone's gone through the swimming mount later, and if I know for sure, I'll put a comment in. Yeah, gonna be interesting to see how that goes. Next up is the ultimate generation. So they're actually changing a lot of the ultimate generation from class skill lines. So Mountain's Blessing gives you minor heroism. Probably one of the most important, I think, is Catalyst. So at the moment, if I just look into my Nightblade's siphoning skill line, Catalyst, after drinking a potion you gain 30 ultimate. Now right now, what you can do is just, even out of combat, you can just consume a potion and you still get the 30 ultimate. With this change, you won't be able to get it out of combat anymore. I don't like that they're doing this. I think this is just robbing cool things that you can do in this game and not giving you anything in return. So yeah, I don't like that they're doing this personally. But in PvP, I imagine it's quite an issue. Yeah, just taking more of the fun out of this game, I think, is all that's happening there. As for classes themselves, there's not many changes. They're mostly just swapping a couple of the buffs around, which, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. I think it's fine. Assassination. So Grim Focus, they're taking away the weapon and spell damage that you get from Grim Focus. Personally, I don't think this fucking skill even needs the extra weapon and spell damage. It's so stacked with shit. So now all it's doing is Shadow Cloak is getting the major crit buff removed. So right now, Cloak has got it. So it's quite good to have Cloak if you're not running spell pots or weapon damage pots, because that gives you your crit anyway. But it's convenient if you're just doing more chillaxed content, just to use that instead, because that's a really powerful buff. So now Grim Focus is actually giving you this, which you want to use anyway. So it just means, I think, for trials that you probably won't use Cloak anymore if you just want to have a chill run. You can just put a proper damage skill in instead, and you get the major buff from this. But for maximum potential for Nightblades, it's definitely going to be a nerf, because you'd get this buff easily from potions anyway. That being said, you can swap Major Prophecy and Savagery for heroism or something else, but again, you're also getting heroism from these sources anyway, so I don't know how that's going to work. But yeah, now Cloak is just giving you minor protection, which sort of suits it, because the Shadow skill line is mostly like the defense skill line for Nightblades, but it does have Twisting Path anyway and Shade and all that, so And Velar Blade's fucking good for damage. And the same thing is happening for Sorcerers. There's just for Necromancer, it's literally just a bug fix. That's all that's going on. Or like an issue with corpses. Not much getting there. But Sorcerer, they're swapping a couple of buffs around. So Lightning Form used to give you your major resistance buff. Now Bound Armor is, and Lightning Form is actually getting Minor Force, which is actually pretty interesting. I don't know if this is going to be worth running over things like Trap Beast and Race Against Time still, because I feel like those are still better skills. That being said, Lightning Form does give you I think Boundless Lightning or whatever it is, that gives you Major Expedition anyway, so it's kind of the same. Yeah, interesting to see how that goes. Couple of changes to couple of issue fixes with weapon skills as well. Nothing else really important to go through there. But yeah, basically all the unique ultimate buffs from a bunch of different sources are getting removed and then being made into like fucking the same buff that every fucking other thing gets. So I imagine this is really going to hurt a lot of sets that are already kind of like never used and just make them even more useless. Kind of bummed out about that, but yeah, this game is it has been heading in the direction for a while anyway. Okay. Next up, we gotta talk about this. Coral Riptide. Bassa's is also getting something similar. So Basse is kind of getting a bit of a buff. Coral Riptide is getting a nerf. So it's getting to a maximum of 525 weapon and spell damage at 50% stamina. So for players who can't aren't, or like builds that can't handle the low stamina issues with Coral Riptide, they're getting a bump up. But Coral Riptide is getting a pretty significant nerf. That is pretty significant, that amount of weapon damage that it's losing. That's rough. So that might shake things up, we'll see. I mean, it's still a powerful set, but it's going to be interesting how that goes. Where is it? Yeah, here it is. So Enchanting Masterits are now a consumable in the PTS and will be consumable instead of a durable. So if I had $1 for every bloody time I questioned why it was a durable in the first place, fucking hell, I'd be rich. I could buy the fucking Solstice DLC. Yeah, this is obviously I doubt it was me who would have had make this decision, but I feel like I at least had a part in to say, yeah, that's interesting. So that's good for consumables because yeah, I feel like the durables already have enough stuff to use. They've got 4, whereas consumable only had 2 at the time, and now they've got 3. So I think that just balances things out. I'm okay with this personally. Yeah, I think that Enchanting Masterits, if you've got max level Enchanting, are the best for endeavors because they're so cheap to make usually. Assuming you've got one. If you have to buy one, they're still usually pretty expensive. That being said, usually I just avoid this one because if you have to buy a Masterit, they are so expensive usually for like the other options that are usually available for endeavors. But I guess it's worth it's worth it for consumables. They were kind of fucked over with that system. All right, so that's I think the only real important things to know about the PTS stuff. And again, it will change, but I imagine the majority of like the stuff will remain as is. They'll just tweak a couple of numbers down and up. All right, so the other thing I wanted to talk about is scribing. So as of today, the 10th of July, like general terms today, the scribing skill line will become available for everyone. So according to the July survival guide, so you can see unlock scribing for free July 10th, and then a golden pursuit for July 10th all the way to the start of August for a golden pursuit for this. I don't know what the rewards are. It's probably on PTS now, but again, I can't check. So down here, so you're going to be able to access it in the Crown store. So when you go in to the store, go into the featured section when you start and just go down, or maybe check events too, something like that. Go down to around here, I would say. It'll be like this size like thing. It'll be a small one, and it'll just say free, and it'll have like a second area of scribing, and it'll be a picture maybe of a wood elf in like a like the Mage's Guild Knight armor. Knights of the Lamp, I think they're called. That style. So yeah, just keep an eye on that. As soon as you see that in the Crown Store, fucking go do that shit if you haven't got Gold Road, because there are quite a few endeavors. This is one of them that come up in the endeavors system a lot, because you get the skill styles, which is scribing related, mostly Gold Road related, but there's a few you can get from scribing alone, and then you've got killing with scribed abilities, which is kind of shit, but better than some options usually on the day. And then healing with scribed abilities, which is really fucking easy. One of the best endeavors in the game, and you want to make sure you can do that one as well. Alright, so now that scribing is becoming a base game thing, on the weekend I'm going to start doing a extra video. I'll try and make it like an hour or two, and I'm just going to cover going through the entire questline of the scribing questline, how I would personally do it as quick as I can, like the which things I choose for all the challenges for each of the like wings, and yeah, just some general like knowledge things that'll make it easier. So I'll do that. I'll try to upload it at around anywhere between 8 to 10 p.m. EST on Saturday. Oh, sorry, it'll be Friday night, I think, for America. Yeah, it'll be Friday night America. So, yeah, I'll be doing that too. Because yeah, I think it's worth doing now that it's a base game thing. So yeah, that's everything for now. So I'll just start with endeavors. So we've got a 10 seal set. This set it's okay. Personally, I would go enchanting, dual seams, and skill styles. And if you don't have skill styles, do world bosses instead. I would avoid a keep. I would make like the comparison between these two the only ones that are worth it, because these two here are so much easier, and this one's here is so much easier. So world bosses and a keep. What's the difference? Well, both of these can be done on your own. Both of them you have to go to like a certain area, basically. But yeah, a keep is so much worse, I think. I don't think there's any reason to do this. So what do you have to do to take a keep? You have to go to Cyrodiil, and these are the keeps here. So you have to take one of these. Now, in order to get in, I did go through this in the Vengeance campaign recently, and I don't know, maybe some people watched that, but now that Vengeance is over, I would not do this, because the amount of players that are going to be there are going to be lower, and that means when there's a keep to be taken, you're going to have less people to help you, and it's just going to be slower. So, yeah, I just don't think it's worth it in the normal campaigns to do this, because oftentimes there's so few players that it's so like one-sided. Trying to get this done is just so much slower and less reliable than anything else. So, but yeah, you need to go through the door here, for example, or like wherever the keep entrance is. There'll be like a main gate, and that's the quickest way in. You have to go into the courtyard once you take out the main gate. There'll be lots of enemy soldiers that you have to kill, and then the front door is here. You can also hit the postern walls on either side here as well, and you eventually break them open and you can enter. There are 2 flags inside the keep, and you have to take them as well. And yeah, it's just, the problem is it's a lot of work, and in order to puncture into a keep, you need to pay for some siege weapons. So it's like the time it takes is longer, the investment is higher, because world bosses you can just kind of do this with any character. Even like really low level characters, you could probably kill them. It will just take fucking forever. But it would take even longer for keeps, I would say, in that case. And yeah, there's no initial investment for this, and you know, players can't just come up and kill you and stop you from being able to do this one. And if you die, you're not respawning halfway across the world. Maybe you respawn like right next door most of the time, especially with the easy world bosses. Yeah, just don't do this one. It's the reward is lower, the risk is higher. Well, I mean, the reward is the same, right? It's 10 seals versus 10 seals. Like, if this was a higher amount of seals, I would do it, but for the same amount as shit like this, like, why are they even on the same league as each other? It's just stupid. Okay, so skill styles first. So, what is a skill style? If you see this icon next to a skill, that is a skill style. So all you got to do is select it, and you'll see it shows up here. You might have it, you might not. Now, some of the easiest ones to get, Blue Vigor is one of the quickest, and this, when Scribing becomes base game, you'll be able to get access to this. But until that time comes, you'll have to find another way. So personally, if you don't have Gold Road, maybe just wait until tonight when it becomes available, and just start doing the questline straight away. Because that is one of the easy ones to get, but the even easier one to get is Soul Trap. because you get Orchid Purple here. So yeah, second area of Scribing is the first quest that you complete in the Scribing skill line. So it's just, you'll get this super fast. That quest is super easy. It's like, you can like avoid every enemy, you can just run past everything. Even the enemy that stands next to the like gem that you have to grab from a box in the Scribing area, like even that guy is like avoidable mostly. Yeah, so in order to make sure it's selected, wherever this paintbrush is, you're just going to make sure that's there. So once that's there, you know it can work. So because this is a targeted skill, I can't just cast this. That's why I like Vigor so much, because if you had Vigor Blue, you could just cast that anywhere instead. The same thing can be said in the Seals of Endeavor store. If you type in skill, we also have access to Volley as well, and Shield Charge, but Shield Charge requires higher leveling into Sword and Board, so it takes ages. Volley, you can get this very quick, but it costs a lot of seals. Personally, I wouldn't bother with this. For 10 seals, I don't think it's worth bothering with. Like, even if you don't want to do these two here as well, just do these two and call it a day. Because I don't think it's worth it. There used to be a one you could get that was 2,000, and it was another color, like recoloring of Vigor, but you can't get it anymore, so I don't think it's worth it. The other options are from Major Regarth. There's a bunch of Undaunted ones you can get for 20 keys each. That's a lot, but this is a base game option as well that you can choose. So if you've got lots of keys lying around, just buy one of these. Twin Slashes is good, Snipe's good, Uppercut's good. These two they can be casted anywhere, but you need to level up a fair bit in two-handed to get access to these. Wouldn't bother with an ultimate, because you can't really spam that. And then Regeneration's good, but it costs 40 keys as well, so it costs weight like twice as much. So yeah, other than that, everything else has like some kind of pay-gated requirement. So I'll try and give you an example, right? So Sword and Board has a morph of Puncture, Lava Burst. And so if we view this achievement, Skill Styles Puncture. Yeah, so you can see the fragments that it requires in order to make this. Sistra's Volcanic Vents, this is High Isle, you need that DLC to access it. The Cauldron is a DLC dungeon you need to pay for. Sunspire is from elsewhere, which you need to pay for. And I'm pretty sure False Martyr's Folly also requires you to pay for something. Forgotten Waste and City of Ash 2, these are base game, but yeah, 4 different things that you have to have paid for in some way. And this is the case with pretty much every other skill style in the game. So, yeah, just worth keeping in mind. If you've got all the DLCs in the game, this shouldn't be a problem. But for those who don't, yeah, it's kind of rough. So with Soul Trap, you can just chuck it on your bar and just cast it a bunch of times on an enemy. And the good thing is, because it's damage over time, it has like no upfront damage. You can cast it a shit ton of times and not have any issues with like really weak things dying. Like that was not. Yes, it is a bull niche, so they have a lot of health, but like you could probably cast that on a skeever and it would probably not die before you cast it all. Yeah, you get the point. Just spam it a bunch of times when you know the paintbrush thing is active on the skill style, and that's what you have to do. So it's a little bit of setup. But once you're set up, you can just do that super quick. Especially with Vigor, when you can literally just log in and cast it 10 times and be done. Okay, so now I'm just going to cover enchanting equipment. Now, equipment, it can be anything. Jewelry, weapons, armor, doesn't matter. Just as long as you've got some glyphs to enchant on some stuff. Now, there's a couple of things that I prefer to do instead of, well, other stuff, I suppose. My favorite way to do this is to just yank a item out of the environment, buy some glyphs, because that takes like 2 seconds, and then just enchant that same item with 2 different glyphs. Don't buy or have 2 of the same glyph, because you can't re-enchant the same thing on an item. In that case, just have 2 different items that you could use, or just have 2 different glyphs for a single item. So I'll just give you an example of just like taking an item for this. If I come over here. So the best place to do this would be Imperial City, because in Imperial City you can just yoink some items off weapon racks. They're not stolen, so nobody will crack the shits. Whereas in regular towns, like, it's stealing stuff, so people will crack the shits if you try and steal it when they're watching. But it's no big deal, because in places like this you can just like stealth in the corner and people can't see you. So my next thing to do is to go to the enchanter, because enchanters will sell you glyphs. The only issue with this is the glyphs are quite expensive. I would suggest, if you're tight on cash, to use regular runes and make your own stuff, because generally these will be cheaper to buy. Like, it will cost more to buy a ton of them immediately, but for that value you can do tons and tons and tons of these endeavors whenever they come up and not have to pay for anything for like ages. So I would suggest doing that first, but if you're in a hurry, you don't want to bother buying some runes, you can come up to enchanters and you can buy monumental glyphs here. So these work on the weapons that you can just snap off the street. Unfortunately, the superb and truly superb glyphs don't work on these kind of items, because whenever you steal stuff, it's actually CP 140, it's not CP 160. There's very specific instances where you'll get 160 items, but it's very rare, I find. But I just rather do this instead of creating items or using possibly valuable items like that. You could also, I guess, find or craft an item and then lock it, and every time you want to do this endeavor, you can also just unlock it and use the glyphs on it and stuff. But yeah, just for simplicity's sake, I think take a weapon like this, come up to the enchanter, buy 2 glyphs here like this. As I said, just make sure you got a different one, because they won't work otherwise. Just go that, and then let's go that, and that's the endeavor done. Now, the good thing about using glyphs yourself is there is no incorrect combination with glyphs. There are just, like, when you craft them, you can't just like fail to craft something. It's just that you have to understand some glyphs can't be used on weapons. So you can use disease on weapons, for example. You wouldn't be able to use health if you made a glyph with the positive rune. Now, the good thing is, for crafting your own glyphs, is you can put level 1 glyphs on like a really high level item. It won't be very useful in combat, but you're not really doing this for the combat, are you? You're just trying to do the endeavors. So what you can do is, just as an example, we've got a weapon here, so I want to make a weapon glyph. I've got some disease runes. So what I can do is I can get a Jura, which is the level 1 potency, or like the level 1 positive blue rune, and I can mix this with a Jojota and a Hoako, and I can use all 3 of these at level 1. And so you can just do this, craft yourself a glyph, and then enchant, and you can just put that on top of the Void Steel Axe. So runes can be found in the wild. You know, you can just go get a couple of rune stones while you're looking for your jewel seams. I suppose you could do that, or you can just buy the runes from guild traders, and you can buy like huge stacks of them. So whenever these endeavors come up, if you just pay a little bit of gold from this point, anytime this endeavor comes up, you just rock up, do it, and then you can just go about your day once you got your weapon, obviously. Alright, next up, mining jewel seams. So, I know that the game itself says learn this delicate art through the Somerset chapter, but this is actually a base game thing. Being able to use the jewel seams is a Somerset thing, but this is actually a base game thing. Ignore the fucking tooltip, it's bullshit. So everybody's got access to this, which is good. Now, unlike the other crafts, where there's 10, there's only 5 for jewelry, so it's actually easier to know all the different types. So what you can do is, I'll link this in the description. I'll also link the all the stuff about PTS and all that if you want to look that up too. But I'll link this in the description mainly because if you scroll over this this link, it will show you what each one looks like. So when you want to know what each one looks like, you can just be able to know here. Every seam of that type, like Electrum, all ones have this exact look. There's no like different alternate types. So every platinum seam will look exactly like this. So it's literally the same as the one I just found. So once you know what the platinum and the pewter looks like, you'll probably know what all the ones that you're going to find are going to look like. So which type of dust spawns depends on 2 things. It's a 50-50 split between your character's level and your jewelry crafting engraver passive here. So look over this. This is the first 50%. So I get pewter. So if this is max level, I'd only get platinum. So because my character's max level, I'd only get platinum in this case. So it's a little bit better for... it's not ridiculous. Once you know what pewter looks like, it's not too bad. But yeah, just keep an eye on this because this will impact it. And then, yeah, so level. So I'm pretty certain if we look at this... Yeah. So these are the levels that each of them spawn at. I don't know what happens if you are level 25. I don't know if you get pewter or copper. I'd be interested to see, but I don't have anything to test that on. So yeah, just keep this in mind. This stuff that impacts what spawns. But yeah, most people I imagine will get platinum and pewter. This one here. Oh, what do you know? Literally the same one I just fucking mined. So nodes can spawn pretty quick after they were just used. If you're wondering, like, is there like one specific zone that's better than everything else? I suppose Cragmorn falls under that category, but there's not like a single zone where there's just going to be lots of ores and nothing else. Every zone has a ton of ores, a ton of cloth plants, a ton of like wood nodes, everything. It's just a matter of like what places you prefer to run around in. Now, Cragmorn is the only exception to this rule because every cloth, wood, ore, and dust node has a chance to give you potent and fortified Nirncrocs, which is good shit. I don't have any on me now, but they sell for a lot, and they're used in Nirnhone trait items, which are useful for research, and Nirnhone weapons are good in combat. So they have a lot of use, and potent Nirncrocs sell for a lot, so you can make a lot of gold from mining, or like doing anything in Cragmorn instead. So just thought I should mention there. If you want to get to Cragmorn easily, just use one of the houses in home tours, because you don't have any wayshrines here naturally. Yeah, you've got a lot of houses you can use in home tours. So, as an example, if you just go to home tours, browse homes, and go Earth Tier Cavern, it'll allow you to easily get here, because you just travel into the house, you leave through the front door, and then you'll get taken to here. And you can just run around, get this wayshrine, and you'll also unlock this wayshrine as soon as you enter the zone, which can be handy. But if you're not worried about Nirncrocs or money, you can just use any zone in the game, whatever one you prefer. You can just run in a straight line, and you'll probably eventually find like a bunch of ores, and it won't take you very long. It'll take you a few minutes usually. It's a bit of RNG involved. And if you want to take like a picture of this is Harvest Map that shows me all these things here. It's an add-on. But yeah, if you want to take a picture of this for all the locations in Cragmorn, it might work. Because one of the issues is the blacksmithing nodes, they share the spawns with jewelry nodes. So you can find a lot of ores and you can't find any like jewelry ones. It can be a pain in the ass. But anywhere that you can find rubidite ore or like any other blacksmithing ore, you'll be able to find a jewelry seam in that location. So eventually you'll find stuff. So there you go, that's a fourth one. So I'll just need one more. Another rubidite. So if you have a fast mount, it's really helpful here, because the mount will cut down the time it takes to get everywhere. And what did you look at that? That's 5. Hold on. This is a runestone if you're looking for glyphs to craft yourself. You don't always get blue ones, but that's fine, because all you need is the orange and the green ones, and then the blue ones can be bought from enchanters for like the level 1 glyphs. Like the level 1 blue runes are fucking super cheap, and most of the time you'll get white and green quality runes. You can't use blue ones if you're level 1 enchanting. I think that's worth mentioning, but you don't need to be level high level enchanting to get access to that. Like I'm level 14 and I've already got level 2 here. Alright, last one. Let's talk about world bosses. So this icon, this is what they appear as on the map. So each normal zone has 6. Probably one of the only one I really think you should bother with outside of like running between them is Western Overlook, because it's right next to the wayshrine here. And this is usually where a lot of people hang out until it's up. And what that means is, because there's other people here helping you, it means the world bosses go down quicker, and generally it's easier to survive on, because some of these world bosses can be quite nasty, especially if you don't have many champion points. So if you're not sure, just use this way shrine that you start with by default and just come down here and wait for Western Overlook to spawn. Now, the biggest problem that I have with this one, and the reason I like try to do other stuff aside from fucking keeps that sucks, is it's a 5-minute respawn timer usually for these things, so you can just be waiting around doing nothing. But in most cases, this is going to be pretty chill, especially if you use this one, because this is where people are, so you don't need to super concentrate most of the time, because other people will help you. That being said, sometimes you can come here and there can be nobody. In that case, it can be quite tough. If you've got a companion, it can help. Give them a sword and shield and just have them tank damage for you, so you can focus on the more important stuff, which is damage. Now, some other ones to look at. There is Strifestorm Hive, just south of the way shrine that you start with in Doven's Watch and Stonefalls. And there's also Brahma's Grove, which is quite close to the way shrine. If I were to choose, I personally try to do these two. That or the ones in Alaka Desert, they're pretty good too. So you can come over... Oh yeah, he's up now. Alright, so I'll just discuss this one, because he's quite tough. He attacks slowly, but he does a lot of damage. So, whenever he stops his idle, just block for a second, because of that attack there, the fucking annoying bitch slap. It's like the most annoying attack that like... It's probably one of my least favourite attacks in the game. It's so unpredictable. Yep, so just blocking. Block that. Good. Yeah, because there's people here, it's a lot easier, but if you're on your own, you don't do much damage sometimes, so... Alright. That's one. Oh yeah, because I cast skills there. But yeah, that would have been one world boss, and now we just got to wait 5 minutes for the next one. Now, if you're wondering, do world bosses with multiple bosses count? Like, for example, in Greenshade, this camp right here has 3 bosses. Unfortunately, that doesn't count. Also, same thing with the Soulflower Plateau in Oridon. There's 3 necromancers here that don't count, unfortunately. It just, the whole thing counts as one boss, so you have to do it twice. It's annoying, unfortunately, but yeah, that's how it works. So as I was saying, Stonefall's over here. Strifestorm's not as easy as Brahma, but probably easier than this guy. I find him to be quite brutal. So that being said, this guy attacks quite frequently. So yeah, get this way shrine, you've got easy access there. Over here with this way shrine, and then you've got Brahma. If you don't interrupt Brahma, the main Netch, the big Netch boss, they don't do anything. They just sit there with like a little AoE underneath them. And it just gives you the ability to just like not have to worry about healing for a little bit. So yeah, this is a pretty good boss. And then in Alaka Desert, you've also got some easy ones here and here. So Lesser Circle, this boss here is just like a golden saint with a mace. And they spend half their time doing AoE abilities that you can easily avoid. So if you don't interrupt them when they do their like shock like circle, just let them do it. They spend half the time like trying to throw AoEs down and not hit you. That you just it's like trivial. The damage they do like with their normal attacks is not great, but yeah, it's super easy, this one, especially if you're a ranged build and they just like never hit you. Lost Caravan is also pretty easy because the Sand Racer here goes... is it the Sand Racer? Can't remember what they're called. They're like the big rock alligator things. The dude goes underneath the floor every now and then for quite a while, and just lets you get all your resources back and just heal a bit if you need. So yeah, these guys are easy. There's also usually a lot of players around here doing these. If you want access to these two, House of the Silent Magnifico is good through home tours. If you want easy access to Brahma, probably go Ebony Flask or Ebonheart Chateau and just get the way shrine over here. There's so many world bosses to choose from. While you're searching through Craghorn, I guess you could also keep an eye on the Crucibles or the Anomalies. See if anyone's doing these, but these are generally harder than the generic world bosses that you find in regular base game. Because yeah, these are like kind of group content designed. And yeah, generally newer DLCs, the bosses are going to be more advanced than old ones. That being said, I'm pretty sure Unfinished Dolmen is quite possibly the hardest fucking solo fight I've ever done in any world boss. Maybe like a couple of the other ones are as tough. I guess you should also... I guess I can also say Echoing Hollow. Is it Echoing Hollow? I think it's Echoing Hollow. Walks Like Thunder, the fucking Mygaunt in Murkmire, that thing is brutal as well. But yeah, some world bosses way easier than others. I'd skip these kind of ones. Yeah, if in doubt, just use Western Overlook. Honestly, this one should be, there should be players here to make this one easier for you. All right, so I think that's enough stuff about dailies for now. I'll go ahead and start prepping that character for doing the scribing stuff on the weekend. But yeah, any questions, just give me a holler. I always reply, you know. So thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you next time. Appreciate the support. Take care for now.